I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me today.
No worries, and thank you for your interest.
I wanted to ask you about the creative process for the album. Um, how long did it take to put the material together?
Well, it's a process, Normally, I do all the basic songwriting, before the guys get to add their ideas. So I have a bunch of songs and a bunch of binders, and I take out. It's like a process, but it has to put through the quality process. I have to like it first, and I
Mhm.
put it in a program, and I switch around like choruses and stuff, or add like something, or well, I don't know, but we had like the songs together for the album like right before we went to the studio. So it's always the first couple of songs you have years before, and we already played some of them live, and then the last couple of ones you speed to like everybody, so that everybody knows how the song works before we go to the studio. Then it's nailed. If the drums are recorded, you'll have to write on them. So
I,
it's different. For example, the first track, "No Way Out," I wrote like
yeah.
the skeleton of that song in 2002,
Wow.
and so somehow I had a recording that we did in a former band, and I said, "Well, that song should work, but the middle part is yeah, I should change out the middle part." So I was on the bathroom, and I had this da da dum. Damn, I should record that. And we have like cell phones, so I just recorded it on the bathroom.
And I think one of the things that stands out in the album is the way the tracks are laid out on the album. It has a great flow throughout. How much time did you spend in putting the tracks together?
Well, lots of time, even like refurbishing the lyrics before the singer comes, and it sounds too dumb. I have to like do it differently. And it's good that you mentioned that. For me, the album is still an art form. So it's not just like the songs, because most of the guys get the songs and the album cover, but the cover expands, and it's the inside of the spaceship, and all the lyrics and everything. And the album, as you say, is an art form. So what's track number one? What's track number five? What's the last track? For me, the epic one is always the last. So I changed things around and made the epic one the third to last. And it's different, but you always have your heroes. And I remember in the 80s where they had the track number one should have been the fast one. And so an album like Holy Diver should have started with that song, Holy Diver. But Dio himself said, well, it was usual to have the fast one first, you
Sure.
know? So what we do is like have the single ones like in the beginning and the more like the diverse ones. But you're right, because I did a concept album a couple of years ago, the Rise of the Fallen one. That was hard because you had to fit the story also with the flow of the album. So track number one, two, and three became track number one, five, and 10. So you had to add the story in between those parts and redo the lyrics. For me, it's that's my hobby. I love doing that, and this is not a concept work, but it's based around the Solaris book and movie. So I wanted to put that in the artwork, because the artwork is a part of the album.
Sure. And speaking of the artwork, I wanted to ask if you could talk about the album artist and how did you get in touch?
Well, he actually did already three covers for us. We started the relationship in 2014. His name is Thomas Moronsky, and he's from Poland. And funny thing is, the Solaris book, is from a Polish writer, and he said, "Well, we had to read that book in school, so I know exactly what you need to do. So I want to have the outside and the inside. That was his idea, and then like in the beginning in 2014, I had like a crazy idea of putting the UFO houses on the cover, and the record company at that time said, "You're crazy. That's not going to sell." Here's a list, a link of artists that you can contact. And there was a German dude, and he had in commission all these artwork from the guy called Thomas. And so I had to pay a lot more because he had some commission. But then for the next album, I just contacted him directly. He's not a metalhead, but he did lots of covers of books and stuff. And I always choose the artworks that moved something in me. So I chose the one for Utopian Void. And from there, next time I said, well, the next album is going to be the concept one, and it's about good versus evil. So he did that for me. And the new one as well. He said, well, I know all about the book. I know what you need, you know. And the thing is, if you see that woman, because in the story, you know, his deceased woman comes back to life, you know. So it's but it's not her. It's a memory of her. So this is why it's her in like the shadows of you know, of your memories.
Sure.
That's just the thing. And we don't have a female singer because I had one guy asking me, "Do you have a female singer?" Not why? Because there's a woman in front. Right. Yeah.
I wanted to ask if you could speak on one of my favorite tracks, which is Rise Above Fear.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because I had it. There's a song called "Nuclear Attack" by Gary Moore, and I just figured I want to write a track like this, you know. So what I usually do is I don't copy the track, but I just go, okay. He starts with that melody line, then goes into the verse, and then there's like a middle part with the stop, and then everything's gone and just one instrument, and so you know I take it from there. So the whole melody line. I mean, I played it because I usually play bass, but you actually do compositions on guitar. But our guitar players like play it like 1,000 times better. So, do you really want it that stale, or can I put some funk in it? You know, just go ahead and put the funk in it, and it's pretty cool because um no, and the middle part that was just like the guitar. Gary Moore had just had the guitar, but one day one of the guitar players wasn't there, so I played it on bass, and they said, "Well, should be bass," you know. And the lyrics are about me. It's a personal track because I'm afraid of things, you know. Mostly mostly the apocalypse. So I just said, well, look into the fear and try to like try to face it so you can get over it. It's basic, but it was really important to me. And funnily enough, it was called Rise Above first, without the fear. Then I figured Rise Above is a record label, so just put something else there. So it's Rise Above Fear. Yeah.
And another one of my favorite tracks is Island of the Lost Souls. I wanted to ask if you could speak on that one as well.
Of course, this is actually one of my not my favorite films, but I usually when I sit here, I watch any old movie and have the guitar, and sometimes I have a good idea, sometimes I don't. So this is The Island of Dr. Moreau, which is a book from the 1800s or something. It was filmed 3 times, like in the 50s, in the 77 with Michael York, and there's actually one in the 96 with the last movie of Marlon Brando. So it's about like they go beasts because it's the beasts on the island, and I tried to do the Iron Maiden thing, and they did Tokyo Blade as well as a big influence. I don't know if you ever heard of him. I guess you do. And so the Iron Maiden thing is about, we had like the solo, the rhythmic solo part. We went on for too long, so we just cut it in half, and how we go back into the chorus. And I went, how about just dang 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 dang? Well, fits perfectly. And it's about like that I actually always read the book, to have some inspiration when I watch the movie. And the first, I think it was the first movie they did in the 50s, which is called Island of Lost Souls. Without the third, now you being a native speaker, what is correct? Is it the Island of the Lost Souls or Island of Lost Souls?
The Lost Souls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I figured. It sounds better. But we're still
Yes.
poets, so we have like we can still play around with that. So I always do that, like like if there's another title, I go for that title, so it's not obvious. And funnily enough, on the last Iron Maiden record, they did Time Machine, which is also a book by the same author. And I read that they chose between Time Machine and The Island of Dr. Moreau, and I said, "Whoa, I did the other one." But it's
Sure.
actually inspiration. Maiden is a big inspiration. They have lots of movie themes and stuff like that, and they go from there. You don't copy, but you have like art that gives you like some kind of vibe, and you try to transform that vibe in your language, to the art form that you chose. And it's heavy metal for me. For others, it's painting a picture, or murdering people is also an art form.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask you as well, what is the next step for the band? Will you take to the road?
Well, I hope so. I have lots of offers for next year. But at the moment, we're preparing for that record release show because it's going to be a special event. It's like 20 years when I started the thing, the first 15 years being on my own. I have some friends of the past, which were former guitar players and from former bands, and we do some special songs that we haven't played. I mean, the first Emerald record, I was in Emerald before, was 1999, so a long time ago. So we're going to play the first track from there. So that this is at the moment, but I'm still in contact with festivals next year. I'd love to play Italy and Spain and France and all those places, but we got like some people in the band at the moment. They say, well, let's just watch how the record is doing, which I think is stupid, but you always have to deal with the people. So but I have the offers. I just need to make the call, and then because playing live is where it's at. But I
Sure.
did 15 years of just releasing records and gaining some notoriety around the world with the metal fans. Because be honest, 99, let's say 97% of all the people that like your music are never going to see you live. Because at our stage, we don't play places like Brazil, right? We could, but we could. It's not that it's impossible, but I'd love to play the US, but it's not something that is really pop out. But with the record, you can go around the world, right? So we actually wanted to do more stuff, but we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, and it's all about how the economy is at the time. Right now, traveling is just ridiculous.
You know, if the funny thing is, when we went to Germany some festivals, and like some of the guys in the band said, "Well, who's going to pay for that?" And I said, "We do." But are they going to? No, we're just happy that they want us on their festival, and we're going to have some fans, and we actually did. The first one to pre-order the record were those fans. That saw us live in Germany. So, and then the next day he goes to Ireland to do a whiskey tour, with his friends, and so, you don't care how much you pay, right? It's your leisure time, yeah, because this is my leisure time. So
Right.
you don't get it, right? So we're not gonna get paid. We're not just. I mean, I always say my neighbor has a Harley Davidson motorcycle, right? The band is my motorcycle because I spend much money for the band to continue, and this is how it works. And there's people like you who listen to the tracks and enjoy them, and that's what I do it for. Not, but speaking of going to Brazil, it's not impossible, but it would be a crazy undertaking for a man of our size. But if there's a promoter there and says, "Well, we want you," because funny thing is, I get most of fans. You see, like these online statistics. I got most of the fans from Brazil because it's a big country and they like metal. Okay, and we played like Zurich beginning of the year, a festival, and there was one guy writing me and said, "Well, he came all the way from Brazil just for the festival, not just for us, but for the festival. Actually, doesn't he lives in England, but his friends in Brazil told him to go see us." So it's a big ass country, but somehow we made a name for ourselves there.
I wanted to ask you as well, if you could speak on your musical development. At what age did you begin your craft?
I was a late bloomer because as you might notice, I was an exchange student from the USA in 1996. So when I came back, I wanted to start a band in 97. And I met the guy Michael from that guy Emerald, and I used to play guitar, so they looking for a bass player. And I said, okay, I'll switch to bass. And as I said, in 1999, we released the first record. And so I was 18, I was pretty late. But I read somewhere that Steve Harris picked up the bass with 18, so we're fine. We're
Sure.
fine. And then from then on, we started like when I figured how the guys composed their songs, I wanted to try, and I wrote like a whole bunch of stuff that was and then one day I decided, well, I have so many songs that I want to realize. When you record them, you actually give them live, and then they can fly. Otherwise, they're just like some notes in these binders. So I started Distant Past actually as a side project just to realize my songs. And
Mm.
because I had the live band on the other side, so I didn't want to do live. So I had some friends. Because funnily enough, if you have like musician friends, they'll come over and play on your album, no problem. But if you want to get them in your band, they're going to tell you like what they want to do, and so it's I did it this way, and it was fine for a pretty long time. But now I'm yeah, it's cool to have a band and travel the world. That's what we want to do, you know. Because we did a tour with Emerald in 2012. It was the best 2 weeks of my life. I mean, you actually could you were why you're here? Because I'm a a musician. Okay, pretty cool.
I wanted to ask you as well, along your musical journey, what do you feel has been the best advice given to you along the way?
Oh, I don't know if it's an advice, but I figured seeing my friend Michael, what he did is like no compromise and never give up, And there was many times when I said, "Ah, do you want to change the band name? Do you want to start new? Do you want to do another kind of music?" I mean, there's lots of other music that I like. Well, it's still rock and metal, but um, this is the thing that I want to do. So I figured that the secret of his success is just like staying there, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. There will be guys who are going to help you. There's going to be people, and just continue and never stop. Because I once again, it's not an advice, but I was at a festival, and the one guy, I overheard the conversation. They go hey, did you see that new band called whatever, And then he said, yeah, that's the other band, with a new name. And the other goes, oh. So,
Mm,
it's just there's so many bands coming out, and they release an album and then they're gone. It's not fun to
sure.
collect. As you might see the CD collection in the background, because it's fun to collect. We're collectors. So if I put a CD, somebody might like see us for the first time or just buy it to put in a collection. That's what I would do. I always think, what would I like as a fan, and I'll do that. Because I wanted to buy. I'm my number one fan, so this is what I want to do, right? Like all the bands that inspired me. For example, another guy, like he they just put out like a CD with three tracks on like that small cardboard sleeve, and he goes,
You froze, my friend. Hello, my friend. Can you hear me?
"Are we back?"
Yes, we're back.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. Well, he shows me his box set, and I go, "Well, you like these kind of box sets, but you wanted people to pay $20 for like a freebie CD, with three tracks on it.
Sure,
So if you put out, even if you're just an unknown band, a cool package, the one that you would like, that's like it's your passion.
sure.
But yeah, you always have to think. It's like the bird perspective, and like thinking about what you would do it's not that hard, but some people they're not capable of thinking out of the box.
Hmm. I wanted to ask you as well, when you're not working on music, what do you like to do in your free time?
Watch movies, obviously, because you can see all the movies back here. I'm a huge movie nerd, and sometimes it inspires me to write about that movie, and I try to like conceal it a little. And that's actually, I got family, got a job, so I love to watch old movies, and sometimes series and stuff. I go to a lot of concerts, of course. I just went to see Sir Ungle on their farewell
Oh, wow.
tour.
Yeah,
First
they're
time in
amazing.
Switzerland, and last time, and I just loved it. And I talked to the singer, and I took the autographs. I get lots of autograph stuff. So I'm actually a fanboy. And I
Well, we
actually travel
here,
far.
we just had a blast because, I'd been following that band since the 80s and they've never let up throughout their career.
See, that's another advice. They just never stop. There might be some time when there's not no output, but they're not gonna die. They come back, and every time you come back, the back catalog's gonna be hot as well. But if the
Sure.
band dies, they're gone, and maybe forgotten, maybe not. And there's that Keep It True festival in Germany, which actually reaches out for these bands and tells them just to reunite for one gig, and that's called That's cult, it's classic, and
Sure.
it's awesome. Yeah. So actually, I actually do spare no expenses if I want to go see a band. If I want, I mean, there's like a venue next to where I live, like 10 minutes, but they only have jazz and blues. I could like go to a concert every night, but it's not the thing I want to listen to. So if there's, for example, if Richie Blackmore did reunite with Ronnie Romero, and was it 2016? I think I went to fucking Germany, and I was lucky because the guy behind me was from Israel, that guy's from the U.S., and that guy was from England, and I had like 4 hour drive. And I listened to all these classic Rainbow songs with a singer similar to Dio. That was worth it. That he only did 2 concerts in Germany, so I'm a lucky bastard, right?
Hell yeah.
When I think about my relatives in Italy, they live like down south, right? And all these bands are coming to Milano, which is like right up there. They would have like 12-hour drive to go to a concert. So if I go to Zurich, it's a 2 hour drive. I'm pretty lucky to have it being in Central Europe, right?
Sure.
I don't know where you live, but if you don't live like next to a major city, you're not going to go see that many bands, right?
Absolutely. I'm very lucky. Ohio has Cleveland. Cleveland's very close to where I'm at, so it's less than a 40-minute drive to go see a show.
Okay.
And there's plenty of local clubs in the area here. Rock and metal's very strong here in Ohio.
Great, great. And I figured because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland, right?
Yes.
And there's another thing. I think you remember Spinal Tap, right?
Oh yeah.
Hello, Cleveland. No, fix this.
Yeah.
I actually had like first time I watched Spinal Tap, I didn't get it. It took a couple of years in the rock business to finally figure it out because it's that funny because it happens.
Sure. And I wanted to ask you, speaking of local music scenes, how is the local scene in your area?
Well,
Are like
our
Clinton?
country is a little small. I can talk about the whole of Switzerland, which is it's pretty healthy, and we have like lots of diverse styles. But funny thing is that the bands have most success. They're the ones that sound like Crocus, who did sound like AC/DC, like all this riff. There's a band called Rock Out, which is actually has a big major deal now and is playing everything. But they're just basic. They call it butt rock in the US, right? It's like basic rock, and they're having awesome success. And there's other groups with like violins and growling vocals, like um, having success as well. Like our stuff, our classic metal, there's only a handful of bands who do like the really classic metal stuff. And I had to actually I had to overhear comments that goes, well, you're it's pretty full tonight. They say at a concert. Why is it special? Yeah, because it's so old music. If there's like not like metalcore, so the house is packed. But with your Asian music. So, but there's always bands around. But the thing is, longevity. That's the
Sure.
secret. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you as well, what is the best way to get a physical copy of the album and any merchandise that you have?
Yes, that's pretty cool that you asked for. We actually did a really limited LP because the people always wanted to have vinyl, right? So this is actually available in Bandcamp.
Oh wow.
And it's also on on our homepage, which is www.distant-past.ch for Switzerland. And I just did a shop. Actually, I'm building a shop with Shopify because you can connect it with Spotify, all that new stuff. I'm still listening to records. And at the shop, you can actually buy all the old CDs that are still available. We have new T-shirts, back and front print. We have hoodies with a small print. I have mine in the laundry, so I would have worn it. And with the back print, we have like some white T-shirts. We make special like bottle openers, right? They just came in today as well.
Excellent.
So and of course the new CD. So you can go on Bandcamp or you can go on our shop, and there's prices. We ship worldwide. Now, some people have asked me, well, I'd love to get the LP, right? But it's pretty expensive. I know it's expensive. So just go out and write me an email and tell me why. You should get like an extra merchandise item with, you know. So yeah, go ahead and write me. I mean, there's communication going on. Just one guy said, "Well, it's expensive," you know. And I said, "I know it's expensive, but we have like they actually they take away 10%, you know, if you sell it
Sure.
online, which is yeah." So I think about this. One guy said, "Well, it's too expensive." And I said, "Yeah, I know, but I checked with other bands; they have the same prices. You know, it's not that we're going to get rich. It's just because we don't want to like we just want to get even, right?"
And the
And so
shipping
one,
kills
yeah,
the shipping kills alone. I try to, when I can, to get together with friends and do one shipment and get a bulk order than to for us to do individual because it saves so much money.
you know, I'm a huge a wrestling fan, and so we did bulk orders at the WWE shop, and everybody has his T-shirt, you know, because there was a shop in Switzerland, and he bought like T-shirts for $60. Why? Because he reckoned everything on it, you know. That's too much. We're not going to pay that. The thing is, if you want to support small groups, I mean, you can do bulk orders, but you'll do normally bulk orders with like Amazon or something like that, because everybody can get what he wants, you know. But we're just a small little band. Actually, it's just me. I put all the resources in the band, so it's me shipping, it's me working together, and my philosophy is always, you know, I have like hundreds of CDs. If you don't want to pay it much, we can still talk about it because I wanted to catch dust on your desk, not on mine. What I do with boxes of CDs, pretty cool to have it in your place and catch dust there, you know. It's actually that's another secret of my what success is. I put these CDs in envelopes and send it to anybody who want to write a review or something about it, you know, because he had the whole experience. And nowadays it's just MP3s you play, and it's just not the same experience, yeah.
Sure.
But go ahead and use our shop. It's what it's here for. And if you have any suggestions, or I always have there's always bundle offers, you know. Our record company offers the same bundles, so they got like a shirt and a CD, and sometimes I actually support smaller bands, and I buy a CD and a shirt. And
Sure.
funny thing is, if you go to your friends, you have a shirt like with a weird, like foreign band, nobody knew about it. It's always a kickoff conversation, right?
Absolutely. And I love supporting bands that way because no one's getting rich off Spotify. So,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and
it's
if you
pretty.
like a band, that's the best way to show your support.
That's it. Because Spotify, we're not gonna make any money on Spotify. And the thing is, we just had, you know, the soccer championships, and they're like, you know, how expensive is it to the commercials and Spotify and like Temu and all these Chinese, they make like big ass, you know, they put their name on there, you know, like I don't know how to say it. It's not commercial, but it's something like that, and it costs a lot. And these brands who are making money off other people, they're just like the middlemans. They have the
Sure.
money to make their brand go big, you know. But they're living off not my dreams, but you know, like we gave a lot into the music and just take it and sell it. Yeah, it's the middleman, you know, who was
Right.
like it's pretty sad, you know. It's pretty sad actually. And the Chinese thing is, if the Chinese would have had like a union or something like that, they have equal pay or something, it wouldn't be that cheap, you know. Nobody would buy goods from China if they had like real human rights.
Absolutely. And yeah, I always speak about sporting bands. This is a matter of fact, local band from Ohio I'm wearing now. It's just
I, wa-
it's
I
a
was
way to
gonna ask.
support a band.
I was gonna ask you about it. What's the name?
Lines of Loyalty.
It's pretty cool because that's like the picture of a playing card, right?
Yeah. Top half's the skull, bottom half's the regular king.
Yeah, yeah. I when I did Rise of the Fall, the first idea was like having the bad guy and the good guy, which is the son of God and the fallen angel, having actually as a playing card. But then we niched that idea and made the both faces like this, you know. But it was an idea as well. I had the idea because there was a Heaven and Hell T-shirt, Heaven and Hell, you know, and there was like the playing card on there, and I have this T-shirt. This is where the idea sparked. So was pretty cool. Tell them hi, and I'd really like that design. What kind of music do they do?
Pretty straightforward, rock style, very heavy blues influenced, almost like a Cinderella type style.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. I hope that you're not going to say they're metalcore because I wouldn't like it.
I wanted to ask you as well, were there tracks that didn't make the album?
Yes, there were actually there's tons because always when I do an album, there's like some I almost considered for the record, and I put them in a special binder, and sometimes I look through them, and there was like two are really close. One was like the too many verses that I figured might get boring, and there was like a real long uh, I'd love to have like the complicated long tracks on there. And I figured, well, this time we're just gonna have that half ballad, half proc song, which is called The Watchers on there. But I first wanted to have another 7 minute thing, which involves into other stuff. And it's actually about, um, oh, it's about Alice Cooper. Yeah. You don't get it if you listen to it, but he is the master, and he is a pain and something like that. And I I met Alice a couple of years ago, and I told him about the track, but I still haven't realized it, so it's still in my head, you know. Inspired by the classic 1972 Killers song. The Killers is the album, but the song is like Halo of Flies. I don't know if you know it, but just grab the CD, the record, put it on because it's a fantastic song, and it's underappreciated. But again, I based my idea around. Let's see how they did an intro one, and intro two, and intro three. Okay, I'll do three intros as well, and then they go into this part. Okay, and then sometimes it takes a life on its own. This is a great unreleased, unrealized track. I might put on the next record, but there's so many songs laying around I wanted to do, but you know I'm young.
And
Compared, yeah,
lastly, I wanted to ask you if you could give a message to your fans, what would that message be, my friend?
that's a hard one. Well, I hope you enjoy the new record. Go out and get it on physical copy so you can support the band. And just like Bob does, I mean, pick out the best tracks and go and read the lyrics, and maybe you get inspired to read like novels like Island of Dr. Moreau or Solaris. And if any of you does, my goal is sit there and rock out to the great songs and support underground metal. And the only thing I can promise is that we will be back with the next record and with some interesting themes. We're not about love on the backseat. We're more like about the island with the wild beasts.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to take a moment to thank you, my friend, for creating an album I love from top to bottom. And I can't wait for what lies ahead for you, my friend. And I
Oh,
hope to
thanks so
see you
much.
here in the States.
Yeah, I got some friends in the States, so I might return one day and take my guitar. Actually, I picked up the first time I picked up a guitar was in the USFA.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't play shit, but you know, it involved, you know. Well,
Well,
thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time and being interested in my music. It's really gives me the will to live on and fight on for good and old-fashioned heavy metal.
well, thank you, my friend. And please feel free to update me at any time with any new news as it comes about.
I will. Thanks so much.
All right. Cheers, my friend. Take care.
Have a good time.
You too.